I never wanted to be a hairdresser. I wanted to be an artist, but I got bullied at school. And in those days, you could leave at the age of 15. I did leave, and my dad said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know, I'll get a job in a factory like my mates." My dad was a barber. He says, come into the shop and see how you get on. And I did that for 5 years, and I actually got bored with hairdressing, and I quit. And I went for an interview to be a rep for Gillette razor blades. Went into this room, big long table, guy at the end. He said, "So, Mr. Sorbie, what's your qualifications?" And I said, "Well, I've got an A in maths, a B in English, a C," and that was a whole load of bollocks. And he obviously saw that I was lying. So I didn't get the job. I didn't really want the job. Really, what I wanted was the car with the job, and I didn't get either.
What car was that?
I don't know, any car. It would be my first car. So anyway, I went back to my mum and dad, and I said, "Look, Mum, I'll go back into hairdressing, but I don't want to do men's." So they sent me to, it was called the Richard Henry School of Hairdressing in Baker Street. It was a 6-month course. I enjoyed it. And on the very last day, the principal of the college said, "Trevor," he said, "I see something special in you." I went, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He said, I think you should go to a really good house." He said, "I think you should go to Vidal Sassoon." We did a big show in Paris. Vidal was on stage, and that's when I actually created the wedge. And that was a bit of a fluke, to be honest, because I had this model and I did this sort of one-length haircut, and I looked at it and I thought, looks like a helmet. And I just brushed it back to salvage it, and out popped the wedge. Christopher Brooker was in the South Molton Street salon when I did it. It was the first hair picture that got a double-page spread in English Vogue.
I remember.
And the name came, I was with Christopher in a pub one night, and he had a bit of paper, he's just sort of playing around. We were chatting away, and he folded this paper up into like a V shape, and he says, "I've got it." I said, "What?" He said, "The name for your haircut." I said, "Right, what is it?" He said, "The wedge." I had this lady who had like thick curly hair. So I said to this lady, "Do you mind if I speed this process up?" And she went, "All right." And so I got the hair and I put the hairdryer into it, held it tight until it cooled down, and then just did that. And I thought to myself, if I'd stood there for a month finger drying this, I would never have got that volume. So I went away and I tried it on all types of hair, layered hair, straight hair, you name it, and it worked every single time. And that's how the scrunch came about.
Well, scrunch transformed, 80s hair into a big bird's nest.
Every woman on this earth has scrunched her hair at some point.
Amazing. And I remember when you did that. At Salon International, you presented it and you did it on live on stage.
Right.
And I was in the audience. It was amazing in that small little room, but it was great. It was neat, clean, and Brian Drum did a show after you or something.
Yeah.
So I do remember.
Yeah, you do.
They're all imprinted.
British Hairdresser of the Year, 1985. You and me won joint London Hairdresser.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, that was your inspiration. I just wanted to be as good as you.
Well, you're happy.
Try it.
The most important thing in life is to be inspired, because that makes you want to get up in the morning. Everyone thinks the road to the top is a smooth ride. Well, I tell you what, there's loads of bumps on the way. And I've been bumped a couple of times by the press. I sometimes suffer from depression. I'm like that, And the things that, it's the business that gives me the low. When Grant retired, I felt the full weight of the business on my shoulders. And I hate business. I'm not a businessman. I don't want to be a businessman. That's not what I do. But I just want people to understand that there's bumps in the road to fame or success. My sister-in-law got cancer, and she said, "Trev, would you get me a wig? I'm going to lose my hair. I still want to look attractive to your brother." And I went, "Yeah, all right." So I bought this wig, and it looked like a wig. And I said, "Jackie, let me just chop it about and make it look more natural." And I did. I said, "Go and have a look in the mirror and see what you think." And she just burst out crying, tears of joy. And I tell you what, my whole hairdressing career did a right turn at that point. Every month I do a seminar to 15 maximum, And I teach them how to cut wigs. I've been doing that for 10 years now, and I've trained over 1,000 hairdressers.
That's fantastic.
In this country. As I said, I don't get a penny, but I tell you what I do get. I get a thank you card. In certain cases, the word life-changing is written down. You see, the thing is, the surgeons do what they do. The nurses administer the chemo. They're there to save lives. I get that. But when a woman loses her hair, she loses her femininity, she loses her confidence. I mean, it can affect her family, she can lose her job. I mean, it's got a ripple effect. And I try to fill that bit that's missing and help people with the skill that I've got.
Thank you so much for coming. Your team that grew with you are continuing your legacy, continuing the name Trevor Sorbie, like you said.
All I've done is I followed a dream, and I got where I wanted to be. And it's been bumpy, but I wouldn't change much of my life at all. Maybe a few of the bumps, but
we can always improve. And the way that we do that is then we try and see if we can make some nice bumps as we go along. It's fantastic.
Anthony,
Thank you very much.
Real pleasure.
Thank you.